oversaturated and overpenetrated. We're not talking about mattresses, but these are words that sum up the South African furniture market. For the past 8 years, the market's been in decline. And despite the numbers, Coricraft Group has purchased bed linen specialist Volpes earlier this year, and one might regard it as a repeat offender with the purchase of Dial-A-Bed from the business rescue proceedings of Ellerines Holdings. Cash furniture retailer Coricraft believes it's cherry-picked the jewel amongst the Ellerines thorns. Against the backdrop of higher living costs, unemployment, and what looks like South Africa's looming debt bubble bursting, we ask, is it the right time to be getting into furniture, in particular into beds? This is Tonight. I'm Bruce Whitfield. Joining me to answer the question, the Coricraft Chief Executive, Kevin Utian, and Chris Gilmour from Absa Investments. What do you make of the deal, Chris Gilmour, that Coricraft has bought Dial-A-Bed?
I think it makes an awful lot of sense, as we were saying off air. There's a few players around, but if you're going to get critical mass in this area, if you're really going to make a big push, I think it makes an awful lot of sense. And look, I'm not sure what the intricacies of the deal are. I'm sure that'll come out in due course. But I suspect Coricraft probably picked it up at a very, very good price indeed.
What did you pay? 200 million?
Yeah, the price is 200 million, subject to certain adjustments. The final price will probably be a bit less than that. There are some carve-outs and there are some stock elements that need to be adjusted for, but circa 200 million was the price that's in the business rescue report that was published, I think, on the 10th of the month.
Yeah, very useful documents there.
Very
Lots
useful,
of information. But what do you get for your 200 million rand?
Well, Dial-A-Bed is the leading bedding specialist in the country. And
there 50 shops?
There's 60 shops, probably 50 will come across. It is a leading bedding specialist. It's a brand that's well known. Huge brand equity. There's a massive goodwill check that's part of that purchase price. We get the stores and we get the stock, and essentially we obviously get the brand, and along with that we get numerous other brands in the bedding arena that is owned by the Ellerines Group.
No, Coricraft best known for couches. Your Coricraft couch has been for a long time. You've also recently gone more into the retail environment, where you've got a far broader spread of furniture, dining furniture and tables and chairs, that sort of stuff. The couches, obviously manufactured locally.
All of them manufactured locally, yeah.
Are critical. And now you're buying a bed business with lots of international brands. Are those made here too?
The beds are all made here. The brands have got huge brand equity, but the beds are all made here. Coricraft already does do beds, and we do bedding furniture through our existing stores. We've got about 50 odd stores in the country. As you mentioned, we bought Volpes, which is a linen specialist, complementing our cash value retail offering. We have dabbled in beds, but the equity in the brands, the Sealeys, the Simmons, the Serters, all the brands that we have acquired, along with some of the brands that are really owned as proprietary, 40 Winks and the like, do give a huge amount of traction into our value offering, and we believe it's very good in terms of complementing our aspirations to be the leading cash retailer in this furniture space.
Now, furniture, you know this sector very well, don't you, Chris Gilmour? We look at Lewis has done okay as a furniture retailer, probably the best operation in the country. Ellerines, as we know, has been losing hundreds of millions and billions over the last 5 or 6 years. You look at the numbers in the business rescue plan, you look at what Ellerines was losing through Weatherly's and Ellerines Outlets and Bears, which has been bought now as well, and Dial-A-Bed through it as well. Are they completely mad, or do they have a good deal at the right point in the cycle in a nice, in sort of the upper crust of the consumer market?
Look, I think Kevin put his finger on it beautifully there, talking about the cash retail side of things, because I remember many times talking to Ellerines, talking to JD over the years, and the impression you get was that furniture, as far as they were concerned, was an irritant. It got in the way of making money. Exactly, precisely. So don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking their stores. I'm sure they're very good in their own way, and it sounds a bit patronising, I know. But if your focus is on cash retailing, it's therefore by definition and extension got to be on the product, and the product has to be really, really good. And I mean, only a cursory walk through a Coricraft outlet is going to tell you that these guys make nice stuff. It's incredibly well, keenly priced. And it's maybe not quite up in Weatherly's, although maybe Kevin would disagree with that.
But I would agree with that.
It's offering you.
It's nicer,
it's offering some really nice stuff on a cash basis. So I think for the average customer out there, over many years, has been almost forced in many ways to go to these these money lenders, for want of a better expression. I think they're now getting a far, far better deal. And at this point in the cycle, I think it's a really good time to be going into.
Because I mean, if you're selling beds, and beds can retail from anything, what was a double bed cost? 3,000 Rand, probably up to 30,000 Rand. And then you get into the Hustons market.
Sure.
You're wearing a Hustons pattern shirt. Into the Hustons market where they selling beds starting at 60 grand for horsehair and all sorts of other bits and pieces. So, I mean, it feels like it didn't really fit in Ellerines as a discount furniture shop.
No, it didn't. And I think that was one of the problems with the business. It didn't fit naturally into Ellerines. As Chris has mentioned, they were predominantly a credit business where the product probably secondary. In cash furniture, the product is primary. So in our business, and likewise in the dialer bed, the product is really the champion. And marketing the product and supporting the product from a above the line perspective with beautiful retail stores, making it very customer centric and available and accessible to the customer is primarily what we believe in.
But it's lifestyle, isn't it? I mean, you're selling lifestyle in a South African context.
Yeah, you are, and you really are providing a value furnishing in almost a one-stop shopping environment from a retail perspective.
Now, I'm trying to think of what a South African... Boardman's, I think, tried to do that. Tom Boardman's vision, I think, was this. In the days of Boardman's before Edcon took them over, and Boardman's has kind of lost the plot a little bit. I mean, if an IKEA came to South Africa, wouldn't you be in trouble?
Look, an IKEA is a phenomenal competitor around the world, and they do a phenomenal job. If they had to come to South Africa, they would sophisticate the market. And I think us as in our space, we really have got enough footprint. We are establishing significant back end and adding on to our back end. Our business has got almost a square meter back end for front end, which gives us a huge edge in terms of our ability to roll out additional stores to get scale, economies of scale. This dialer bed fits into our back end perfectly, and some of the synergies over and above the product, which are obviously natural synergies, but in terms of the distribution, the route to market, gives us a big footprint and an ability to get ahead of the curve.
Is a couch spring and a bed spring the same thing? Whether you're making couches or you're making beds, is it the same thing? Or are the principles of manufacture
I'd say the principles are probably similar, but they're not identical.
I was chatting to Ryan Backos the other day from Backos Brothers, and they also are doing interesting things as a family business, and they've bought Griffiths and Griffiths, I think it is, also oldie worldy furniture manufacturers. This idea of integrating and owning from beginning to end the process, and that way that you get the margin at every opportunity.
And we are very proud that we are a vertically integrated business. Not only are we supporting the South African local economy and jobs and the like, but we also are securing content that's local. We are, as we said, all our couches are 50, which is 50% of our business in Coricraft as it stands at the moment, is locally manufactured. Now, complementing that with all the beds, we really are very, very much into this vertical integration, albeit that we don't manufacture the beds at the moment. Just the ability to get stock on short lead times in order to rely on expensive freights and the like to import from across the globe does mean that from a value perspective, which is really what we are obsessed about, we should be able to take advantage of vertical integration. Short
lead times are so crucial, isn't it? Because when you go in and you go to be spending 5,000 Rand or 10,000 Rand on a piece of furniture, it can be quite an emotional decision. And you put your money down, you want delivery immediately because it's that spontaneous buy, isn't it? And that's, if they can get short delivery times going there, Chris Gilmour, that's going to be part of the secret.
Absolutely, and that is problematic in South Africa. Logistics generally are not good.
You order anything, you've got to wait 6 weeks. I don't know, there's a magical 6-week time for somebody to knock some nails in to make something.
And that's the norm in the UK as well if you go there. It's not like they're doing it any really an awful lot faster. I remember David Sussman many years ago put up these little satellite stores in JD where you'd go and there was nothing there. You just told them from a catalogue what you wanted and they would try and deliver it. Not entirely sure how successful that was, but I think, again, logistics is probably the area where you're probably going to get let down most.
And you control that process too?
And we do, and you're right, more and more, and how much more so in bedding, is that almost instantaneous gratification so important. Bedding by its very nature is a purchase that, you wake up one morning, you decide you want to change your bed. You don't want to wait 2 or 3 weeks. You actually want the bed straight away. And part of what we are going to be doing in terms of our proposition from a consumer perspective is making sure that we can fulfill that as best as possible. Logistics is key to the business. I think in furniture, most of the complexity is not at the point of sale, it's actually past the point of sale. It's in fulfillment. And I think in Coricraft we have developed some skills and some expertise in terms of fulfilling customers' requirements within a lead time, shortening lead times. As you rightly said, the days of customers waiting weeks and weeks on end for their furniture, those days are gone. We're living in an instant gratification world, and customers want their furniture, they want it now. more so embedding, and our warehouses and our significant infrastructure should facilitate us being able to definitely shorten the lead time as from what it is now, and hopefully going forward even more so.
So Coricraft we're familiar with. Now you've got dialer bed in the stable. What's missing?
We have vision to play in the home, and home furniture is really so. As the business grows and as we see the opportunities, we'll always be focused around the home.
So a top end Mr. Price, because you're taking the Mr. Price cash model and you're saying we want cash, but you've got to bring cash to buy our stuff. We're not going to give you credit for it. You're following the cash model and you want to put it into a higher LSM than Mr. Price offers, for example, Mr. Price Home.
Yeah, and I think we're playing in the upper LSMs already, and I think that's one of the complements that Dialabed has with Coricraft. We do complement each other in terms of the LSM. The Volpes complements our offering in terms of making it once again more holistic in terms of the shopping experience, and to play in that that value aspirational market.
And you're a family business still, are you?
Yeah, it's a small business. It's a part of Westbrook, which is a diversified industrial holding company, which holds a few operations. But yes, we are very much a small operation at the moment.
Exciting times, Chris Gilmour.
I think so, and very different times. It's interesting if from an analytical perspective, if you look around the world and try and find listed furniture companies, there aren't too many. I mean, you've mentioned IKEA. They see that's not what I'd call a furniture company. It's a different thing altogether. And maybe what we're seeing here is the emergence of Coricraft, for example. Maybe we'll see Weatherly's coming back. Who knows? That was listed not so long ago.
Weatherly's was listed, then Ellerines bought it, and it was also an awkward fit. It was like
very awkward.
It was on the side of this mass market retailer. Bears has been bought. We've seen now the sale of Dialer Bed. Does Ellerines survive as a brand? It's up in the air at the moment, and of course then you've got the huge competition from Lewis and JD Group, and they've got to be mopping up during this business rescue process.
I mean, intuitively, you've got great brand equity in the name Ellerines. It's been around for 50, 60 years. So it's not something you just want to toss into the dustbin of history. Absolutely not. So, and I think there must be some sort of resonance amongst the lower end consumers there. But again, let's not forget that was always intimately tied into credit. So maybe there's not so much space for that these days.
Fascinating insights, Kevin Utian. Good luck with it.
Thank you very much.
We look forward to seeing Dialer Bed beds on the floors of Coricraft showrooms as well. Kevin Utian is the Chief Executive of Coricraft. Chris Gilmour from Absa Investments. There'll be more tonight, tomorrow. So then go back to your Coricraft bed. Or is it a Dialer Bed still? It'll soon be a Coricraft bed. Till then, good night.